Touching hearts, expanding understanding, impacting actions. The vision of the Holocaust Remembrance Association is to see the world inspired to stand in solidarity against persecution, prejudice, and indifference. Discover, learn, and partner with the Holocaust Remembrance Association's many initiatives by visiting www.hra18.org. Come back for free refills and meet friends like these, whose stories will touch hearts, expand understanding, and impact actions. Share the link with friends. Discover Holocaust Remembrance Association's virtual and live events at www.hra18.org. rise up and march against anti-Semitism and all kinds of hatred, this is the time and place for our generation to stand up for what is right. Not only stand, but march to drown out the voices of hatred in our world that have even reached the halls of Congress. Visit marchforremembrancehouston.org. Come and be a part of something you'll never forget.
My name is Brian Strauss, and I'm the Senior Rabbi of Congregation Beth Yeshurun in Houston, Texas. I want to thank my friends who this year, on the second day of Sukkot, are lifting up their voices for a global movement to say that they are proud of Israel and the Jewish people. During this global pandemic and this difficult year of 2020, it's nice and reassuring that we have friends who aren't afraid to stand up for the Jewish people everywhere. Thank you, giving us the reassurance, and for all that you do for Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. All my best and only blessings in the holy work that you do.
From Consul General of Israel to the Southwest, Gilad Katz. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you to you all. Just one second. I prefer this. Allow me to speak about a topic that may be a little not PC, but I think this topic is important for all of us to understand the impact that the Holocaust had on the Jewish people. Today, 2021, in the entire world, there are around approximately 14.8 million Jews. The last time there were 14.8 million Jews was in 1928, meaning 97 years ago. After 97 years ago, we got to the same number. During those 97 years, humanity has increased from around 5 billion to 7 billion. And the Jewish people, as I said, are now only 14.8 million people. Allow me to say to give two more examples, number examples with the Jews and numbers. We all know that in the Holocaust, 6 million Jews were murdered, butchered. But today, unfortunately, the number 6 million is abstract. We don't really understand what 6 million people mean. So just to get a sense of the number, every minute during the Holocaust, from 1940 to 1945, 5 years, every single minute, 2 Jews were put to death. Every minute, 2 Jews. That is something that we just can't comprehend. Another example that shows you the problematic of us understanding the numbers is that out of those 6 million Jews, 1.5 million were kids under the age of 18. 1.5 million kids under the age of 18. Today, 14. Today, in Israel, under the age of 18, there are less than 1.5 million kids. 2021, Israel, less than 1.5 million kids, almost 80 years after the Holocaust. Where does that take me? What is my conclusion? As the representative of the State of Israel, my personal conclusion sums up into two words: might and right. Unfortunately, before the foundation of Israel, we didn't have the might. We just didn't have any might. We were right, but that didn't help us. We didn't have the might. But being mightyful is not enough. One has to be also righteous or right. The combination of might and right, I think that is what the State of Israel symbolizes. The alliance with the great state of the United States symbolizes, and that is also what symbolizes democracy. Understanding that the might is not enough, you have to also be right. I would like to thank Rosalie, I don't know where she is, and all the organizers of the March of Remembrance. I arrived here 4 years ago. I've never heard, I have to be honest with you, I never heard about your organization. But during the last 4 years, I got to know Rosalie and I got to know the organization. And this is something that I'll take with me to the rest of my days. Your organization is extremely important for your members, but also for the climate. The society climate, it's extremely important, and most important, it is important for the next generation. The next generation must see and learn from your knowledge, your determination, and I truly thank each and every one of you. This coming summer, I'm ending my tenure, so this will be my last time I'm taking part in your March of Remembrance. But as I said, you'll be with me in my heart until the day I die, and this I see is my own precious present that I received from you. So thank you very much. Toda rabba. Am Yisrael Chai.
Give him a hand. This man is wonderful. He's been helping us too. We just love Gilad. This is a little gift for you. My uncle came on the Altalena. He was a Holocaust survivor. And he was one of the first ceramic artists in Tel Aviv. And I'm giving you a piece of his artwork, which says, "If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her coming. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy." And I know you're returning to Israel, so I thought you'd like to have that. So.
Thank you very much.
We're with Timberwood Middle School, and we had our middle school kids get these rocks made for us with the names on here, and they created them. They put their name on the back, and then they put the person who passed away on the rock right here. The kids really enjoyed this because they just read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, so they were very, very interested in doing this. And it meant a lot to them. So,
yeah, and I had my students do kind of like an SEL project with it, where, because she teaches 6th, I teach 7th and 8th grade, so we did more of what kind of things with these kids that have gone through in the situation, really trying to put themselves in their shoes and learning from that, and yeah.
Hi, I'm Julie Wimberly. I'm the counselor at Bear Branch Elementary School in Kingwood, Texas. And my whole school was privileged to be able to work on the Upstander Stone project this past school year. We were able to go into the classrooms, teachers facilitated lessons about being an upstander and just being able to press into a situation when someone isn't being treated fairly or kindly. And, you know, the students were very touched by that. Our older students really understood the history of the Holocaust and the impact that had, but even younger students saw the names and ages on the stones of some of these children that were treated so poorly and murdered. And we are just really grateful that we had this opportunity, and to be able to support the Holocaust Remembrance Association was such a privilege. And we're very grateful for Bethel and her team of volunteers who supported us so well through this whole project. Being able to have the materials provided to us and be able to roll it out so seamlessly was a great help for a campus as large as ours. We had over 600 students who were able to paint rocks, and we just can't wait till the garden comes together so the kids can go visit and have that full experience, the full circle of being able to support a project, but then also to see the final results of their work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So the mission of the HRA is to sensitize hearts to the Holocaust and stand up and confront modern-day anti-Semitism.
And when there are places like the Garden of Hope in Kingwood, Holocaust Museum Houston, and people who are able to tell their stories, people who are able to share, then we fulfill that motto, never again.
Israel was in a war on 7 fronts, 7. And it didn't look so great. Do not worry about the IDF, 7 fronts. They got this handled. We are losing another battle on the college campuses, on the social media, in the public square. The spirit of hatred towards Jewish people in Israel, and to raise upstanders and not bystanders. You guys on board?
Remembrance is a biblical commandment. We are supposed to pass on memories to future generations. But we also need to be responsible to act at this time we are living in.
And people, that's where we come in for such a time as this.
We are one march of over 350 cities. So we're part of a bigger movement here to make a public stand against anti-Semitism.
That the horrors of the Holocaust are never forgotten. We can be better prepared to confront the modern manifestations of anti-Semitism and prejudice. And the March of Remembrance serves as a fitting opportunity to reaffirm our steadfast commitment to upholding our common humanity. Now, be it therefore resolved that the 15th Annual March of Remembrance, Houston, be recognized as the kickoff event for the Holocaust Remembrance Week, that the Holocaust Remembrance Association be commended for its efforts to honor the memory of Holocaust victims and educate the public about the importance of the standing against hatred and bigotry.
It needs to be carried forward, taught, protected, and lived out by our next generation.
There are approximately 750,000 prisoners who were evacuated the same way on these death marches. Roughly a third of those perished on the way.
It's a sign of connection, and it's also a sign of choice. Those men and women and children who did that march, many of whom did not finish it, they had no choice. Today, you choose to walk.
Never again was never meant to be a slogan that we would repeat once a year. It was meant to be a line drawn in the sand, a call meant to jar our conscience when we see the sins of the past repeating themselves. Recent events, including the atrocities of October 7th, remind us that anti-Semitism is not confined to the history books. It remains a present danger, and it requires a response.
And this is signed by me, Charles Cunningham, the state representative. Greetings from the governor of the great state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott, and our Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and the Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows.
If people don't believe in miracles, I do, because I am a miracle. I survived, and that's why God been with me and let me survive, so that I could help my fellow Jews.
You've heard me say before, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you come from. And with that, we say never again. May God bless and keep you. Thank you.
change the world through lightning in the sky. God uses his people. We will honor the memory of Jewish people lost because of persecution, and we will ensure that in our country, no Jews will be persecuted in the United States of America, not as long as we are alive. Yesterday, I visited the Holocaust Garden of Hope. The thing that touched me the most is looking at the pictures of the children who are no longer with us.
We believe in one God, and no matter what went and happened to the Jewish people, we know we will prevail.
Anti-Semitism did not end with the Holocaust.
Today, in the shadow of October 7th massacre, the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust, we're reminded that vigilance is not a choice.
After the first shock of what happened in Gaza, the second shock was to see anti-Semitism explode on campus. And I said, unacceptable, and like Edmund Burke, I will not stand still. And I've been writing and talking about what's happening at Rice since then.
We have family, friends, and neighbors all coming together, not by circumstance, but by conviction. And there's a power in that. But we gather tonight because there's this insidious shadow that looms over us called anti-Semitism. We're not here to condemn, but we're here to act. We have completed 3 phases of the Garden of Hope in Kingwood. We have traveling exhibits that will go forth in the future. We have upstander stone projects that are going on in the schools. We have teachers that are being taught to teach the Holocaust around the world. So we're on the front lines in this battle.
I want to share my own personal connection to the Holocaust Remembrance Association. It wasn't but too long ago that my wife, Shana, and our beautiful 4-month-old son, Ronen, visited the Holocaust Garden of Hope. It is really, truly, Rosalie, I don't know where you are, but it's a special place. And thank you for welcoming us. It honors the memory of Holocaust victims and inspires a new generation to defend the Jewish people.
My family was rescued by Christians who put feet to their faith and risked their lives to hide my parents, while the rest of our family was murdered because neighbors turned them in. Descendants of survivors, our job is to keep telling the story.
95, 1, 2, 3. 10,000 goes 1, 2, 3. So
making your way into the theater and enjoy it. And thank you. Thanks all the volunteers, and thank you, our special guests.
Welcome to a virtual coffee encounter, brought to you by the Holocaust Remembrance Association. Touching hearts, expanding understanding, impacting actions. The vision of the Holocaust Remembrance Association is to see the world inspired to stand in solidarity against persecution, prejudice, and indifference. Discover, learn, and partner with the Holocaust Remembrance Association's many initiatives by visiting www.hra18.org. Come back for free refills and meet friends like these, whose stories will touch hearts, expand understanding, and impact actions. Share the link with friends. Discover Holocaust Remembrance Association's virtual and live events at www.hra18.org.
Right. Shalom. I'm wondering why we have a black screen there. Okay, welcome. I have Marielle helping us with this, but it seems to be that you may not be seeing us. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me and see me, but we're not on the big screen here. I'm Rosalie Jerome, and I have Morris Narunsky here with me. My husband, Mitch Jerome. We're with the Holocaust Remembrance. We're with the Holocaust Remembrance Association, and Alicia, if you're watching this, can you please contact Marielle and see if we could fix this? Thank you so much. Okay, you can see us and hear us, Marcia says. All right. Thank you, Marcia. In any case, just wanted to thank you for joining us. We are here at a critical time in our world where there's rising anti-Semitism, and so these virtual coffee encounters that we're doing are more important than ever before. In fact, recently we had 2 hate crimes at our Holocaust Garden of Hope. So that was interesting, and just really glad that we have Morris with us today. I'll explain who Morris is in a minute. For those of you who don't know what Holocaust Remembrance Association is, we're focusing on sensitizing hearts to the issues of the Holocaust. And I am looking forward to having him as our guest here. One of the projects we have is the virtual coffee encounter. We also are working with Texas A&M with them using our garden to help teach teachers on how to teach the Holocaust. We have our first book, Why Remember the Holocaust. We have the Upstander Stone Project right here, which we provide teachers with an art project to teach how dark things can go when hatred and stereotyping and prejudice goes unchecked. So I just want to give you a little bit of our other projects that we have, besides, of course, our Holocaust Garden of Hope that we have. Thank you. Something got fixed. All right. So in any case, we usually pick up our cups and we say, L'chaim. This is a virtual over here. Morris, let's bring it to the camera.
We're backwards.
Up there. We're a little backwards. L'chaim to the fact that we have Holocaust survivors. You know, there's a thing called survivor guilt, and we definitely don't want to dishonor those survivors that did survive. Of course, we remember those who didn't. So I pretty much want you guys to know that Morris, when I first heard his story, Morris wanted to come to my office today to do this event. Right. So this is our first time, I think our second time doing the virtual coffee encounter where you're not right next to me. Mm-hmm. So this is good. I just have to get used to talking to you that way or this way. Right. So in any case, Morris he was born in Poland in 1945, end of the war. Just 1 week after the liberation of Auschwitz. Can you believe it? God has really got his hand on this man's life. He's got a big call. In fact, he goes to you go every morning to synagogue, right? To do the...
virtually.
Oh, virtually.
We have a virtual prayer service at 9 o'clock.
And that's the morning...
morning minyan.
Minyan. Is it called mincha?
Yeah. No, mincha is an afternoon.
Oh, the
service.
Morning is...
It's shacharit.
Shacharit. So he does that every morning, prays with the group of hopefully 10 men. Mm-hmm.
Or 10 people.
10 people.
We're egalitarian.
Well, in any case, so he's very committed to his faith, to Judaism. So he's the son of Holocaust survivors, and he's going to share his family's powerful story of survival and rebuilding and faith and remembrance. So we're just really glad that you're here. Glad that you're here, Morris. And so we're going to kickstart this with when did you find out anything about the Holocaust in your family? My family never told me anything.
Right.
So when did your family tell you anything?
Well, to move ahead, we moved to the United States, or immigrated to the United States when I was almost 7 years old. and I'm sure they talked about it in very limited terms. It was difficult. It was difficult for people in the Holocaust, as you well know, to discuss it because it brings back painful memories. So I generally did not bring up or ask a lot of questions, which I wish I had. I didn't want to cause my parents any pain. But over the years, they would talk a little bit about the children, the pain of losing their children, the pain of losing their relatives, and there was education within the synagogue structure, not so much in schools. There was not Holocaust studies in public schools, but it was mostly in the synagogue. We had a memorial in the synagogue that we went to for the 6 million, and just occasional conversations with my parents.
So you were in 7th grade. So you were 7 years old. So what grade were you in?
Well, I started school in March, 1st grade, and then moved right on to the 2nd grade. They weren't as strict as they are now about
Emotional maturity.
Well, about
Okay.
moving kids up to grades automatically. But I was only in the 1st grade for about 2 months, and then moved right to the 2nd grade in Dallas.
Okay, so 2nd grade. And so do you remember where you were in the kitchen, living room, when mom or dad told you? I mean, what do you remember the first sentences, the first couple of, I mean, what brought it on? What triggered them to even want to start telling you?
I think it was just emotion, like you said, that overcame them. They felt like they had to talk a little bit about the family. And I learned bits and pieces here and there. I didn't learn as much as I wanted to, which I wish we had talked more, which we didn't. But I love my parents for what they told me.
So
Morris, just curious, is there one particular story that they told you that really remains that would be important for us to hear?
It was about their children, losing their children. That was the most significant thing, in their lives. I think most of what they relayed to me were about their children. They lost 4 children, which is very difficult to imagine. You can imagine someone shooting your children, and
that's how they were killed?
well, I think that one or two. I had 1 sister and 3 brothers, and I believe I'll show you a little bit later that one of them may have been shot, or 2 of them shot there in the streets of Šiauliai, Lithuania, and perhaps 1 or 2 might have been sent to Auschwitz. I'm not really sure.
How old did your parents tell you how old
yes,
they were?
I actually have a record of that.
You want to show us?
I'm not sure how accurate these numbers are, but I have it in that.
Is it up
Yeah,
there?
if you want to flip, it
This
might
one
be.
here?
No. Let's see. I'm not sure which one it is. No,
Well,
yeah,
you told me just to keep that one.
yeah,
Did you want
right.
that one?
There's a list that shows this.
That one you didn't show me, but I could just show them this
Okay,
on the
so
camera.
look at the bottom, at the lower left-hand corner. It'll show my family, my mother, my father. Yeah, move it over a little bit toward me. Yeah, right there. I don't know how well you can see that.
It's a little blurry, maybe.
It's a little blurry, yeah. Yeah, the
But
name.
what is this paper? Where did you get this?
These are the prisoners in the Šiauliai ghetto.
Šiauliai ghetto.
Right.
That's where
Yeah,
they
I'll
were.
talk about that, a little
So
bit later.
it says here.
So my father, my mother.
Zalmanes, your dad.
These are the Lithuanian iterations of the names.
Passon. So this
was
is
Alma
not.
Narunsky.
These were the prisoners. Okay.
Right.
So
And my
Reva
mother.
is your
Reva
mother?
was my sister. She was the oldest. She was 9 years old, I believe, when she was killed. And then it says Elia, but my parents called him David. And then
Was David?
So David was, if these birthdays are correct, would be about 1 year younger than Riva, which would be Rivka in Yiddish.
8.
Maybe 8, yeah. And then Herschel would be 37, maybe 5. And Label would be maybe 2 years old when they were killed.
Morris, Marcia is asking if you are the only surviving child.
That's correct. I'm the only surviving child, and I can talk about that as we go on throughout the program. But I was born in a camp that had just been liberated, or the Germans had abandoned it. It was a subcamp of Stutthof, which is in Poland on the Baltic Sea. And Stutthof had many subcamps. I'll tell you about our trip there last year. But I was born right after the liberation of Auschwitz. And my mother went through 2 or 3 camps while pregnant with me, which is very unusual.
Yeah, that she survived.
That she survived. Right.
What did they used to do to pregnant women when they would arrive?
They would inject, when they found out they were pregnant, they would usually inject them with a poison solution to kill them, maybe in the heart, I read. And the person, maybe a doctor or nurse who was supposed to inject my mother, injected her with a lesser solution, but not a poison. So she survived. And I was born in my mother called it a barn.
Survived.
I survived in what my mother called a barn, sub-zero temperatures. She was at one of the subcamps of Stutthof called Krumau at the time.
So they didn't notice she was pregnant?
Well, you can imagine if
she was malnourished.
Yeah,
so
very
malnourished.
Yeah, very tiny body and maybe not really noticeable.
Wow.
But I don't have the picture available to show today, but when we toured the Stutthof concentration camp, we went to one room where doctors performed experiments mostly on women. And I may have seen the table where, they laid her to try to execute her.
My Aunt Aggie went through Stutthof. She was in a couple of camps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they call it, the town's not called Stutzewo in Polish, but it was Stutthof at the time.
The actual town is called that.
Yeah. Right, the concentration camp is called Stutthof still, right.
When I went to visit Auschwitz, when we went in with the bus, I didn't realize that the town is called Auschwitz.
Right.
Auschwitz.
Right.
So
driving into the town or going to the town, you wouldn't really know much. You would say, oh, it's a nice looking town. And then you get to the concentration camps, Auschwitz-Birkenau.
So, so you were just talking about your mom's, that you were born in a barn in sub-zero,
right?
And somebody helped. A lot of Jewish doctors, prisoners, people were helping her.
It's possible, yeah.
Okay. So what else did she tell you about your birth? And how did she hide you? Because you were born.
I was born after
liberation.
After liberation.
But
right.
was Stutthof liberated yet? You were born in Stutthof.
Yes. Yeah, I was not born in Stutthof. I was born at a subcamp called Krumau. My mother was sent there. Okay. It was a satellite camp of Stutthof. Stutthof had many satellite camps, probably more than any other concentration camp. Concentration lager.
There were 44,000 camps. Most people don't know that. They think of the main camps, the extermination camps, Treblinka, Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen, etc. But they don't know of all these subcamps where brothels, forced labor, etc.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that number before. I had heard maybe about 1/10 of that.
Yeah,
but you could be right.
I am right. It's in our exhibit, and Dr. Kokanon did the research. She's the one who wrote our exhibit.
Yeah.
All right. So she didn't tell you anything more about the actual birth, being in the born. Like usually, I tell my kids, what happened on the day that they were born. How long the labor was, who was there, whatever.
She may have, but
you don't remember.
I don't have recollection. That was a few years ago.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I'm 81, so
okay.
Thank you. At my age, you forget a lot of things.
All right. So
Maybe somewhere in the deep recesses of my mind, I'll remember. Yeah. But can I tell you a little bit?
I need you to talk a bit. Why don't you just tell us your story and then we'll interrupt you, unless Mitch
Yeah,
wants
please.
to do it different.
Anytime. So my family was living in Shola or Sholi, as the Lithuanians call it, or Shavel in Yiddish, Lithuania, which is in the sort of midwestern part of the country, directly south of Riga, Latvia. And my father had several brothers. I think he had a sister also, to have those records at home.
Include these guys too.
Right.
Talk to me and them.
Right. So I had have some records at home that my cousin Rachel in Israel, she gave me a lot of information. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see her until she was sort of advanced in years, but I did glean some information from her. And the Germans, as everyone knows, invaded Poland September 1 of 39. And then when they invaded Lithuania, which I think was in 41, remember that the Nazis and Nazi collaborators killed 95% of the residents of Lithuania.
Can I just add another piece of history?
Please.
A lot of people don't know about the Holocaust, that Hitler's racial theories with Mein Kampf, where he wrote his concept of this pure race, and he needed to take over a lot of Europe to grow that race. So the way we teach the Holocaust is race and space. So when you talk about Poland being invaded, that was the beginning of World War II.
Right.
Because he wanted now space to grow his race. The Nuremberg laws, all of this racial theory was happening in the early 30s. So just understand that World War II was because of this crazy idea of this pure race that he wanted. Okay.
Good. So I have
killing 95% of
95%.
Lithuanian Jews because
Correct.
of
That's hard to fathom. So in 41, when the Nazis took over Lithuania, invaded Lithuania, they, especially like in Sholi, I'm not sure about the other parts of Lithuania, but in July of 41, they started setting up a ghetto for Jews. And I'm not sure how much you could glean from this.
So the yellow part is what?
That the yellow parts in the upper part of the picture, that's where my parents were. There were two distinct ghettos, and they set up one ghetto, but they didn't have enough room for all the Jews they placed there. So they set up a second ghetto, and these were very cramped quarters. There were about, initially, after the ghetto was fully operational in September of 41, there were about 5,000 Jews in just a few block area. Very cramped.
It says that his family lived on this street.
Right.
So your family, people should know that the Jews were taken from their homes,
right,
and squished into a tiny area of each city, of these cities,
right,
called the ghetto. And many families would have to live in like one apartment or one room.
Correct.
So how many did they have to live with?
That I do not know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that, but you're right. It was multiple families, maybe in one room or a very small area. And the Germans, even before they set up the ghetto, they started killing Jews. When you think about 6 million, they killed about 1,000 Jews prior to setting up the ghetto. And then the Lithuanian,
like in the streets, rampant, or
they took them to forests. There were several forests in the areas. That was a common place for the Nazis to kill Jews. They would take them to forests and just execute them.
We actually have an exhibit 4 about the atrocities for the Holocaust Garden of Hope. Susan Peitzman, who's on today with us, she painted a whole deep, dark, beautiful painting, beautiful forest, but then hidden, when you see the painting,
mm-hmm,
hidden is all of these men, these people, these figures depicting the things that were done in the forests.
Yeah. Well, you actually, I'll tell you a little bit about our trip later, but we had a chance to visit forest outside of Vilna, Lithuania, also last year on our trip. So there were about 1,000 Jews who were murdered for various reasons. And then the ghetto was set up, and conditions in the ghetto, as you can imagine, were pretty horrible. Everything
So-
you've read and
Well,
everything
not
you have-
everybody knows what happens in a ghetto. Like there's no sanitation, no garbage pickup.
Right. Very little food. That was the policy of the Germans to try to starve the Jews. And there was you could be shot for bringing food into the ghetto.
And they would and children would take the roles of adults because they were little enough to go through go through the fences and go steal some food from a local whatever and bring it to the parents, to the family.
Hopefully they didn't get caught.
If they didn't get caught, but I mean the roles changed.
Right. So I'm sure I'm leaving some things out because we have a lot to cover today. But in 1943, November the 5th, I have the date of 43, when many of the parents were out on work detail, the Germans decided to take the children, and they would take the children and grab them by the hair, throw them into trucks, transport them to trains to send them to Auschwitz. And any interference was met with resistance. Anyone who tried to interfere with that process was beaten, with rifles. And there were about 550 children that were taken. So when the parents or the people who were out for work detail got back, they found out that the children were missing. You can see that it was a terrible tragedy for the parents. Then in 1944, July of 44.
Do you think that what your brothers and sisters were a part of that?
It's possible. I don't know. Let me show you just quickly. Let me show you one picture. I'm not sure how well you can see it. Well, here are in the forest. Here are Jews being forced to dig their own grave and being shot by the Germans. That was also a common thing.
That was in Lithuania.
This was that side of Sholi. Everything here is near Sholi or Sholi.
This is from a book just about that particular ghetto.
Right. And then I wanted to show you one more picture of the children waiting for food. Here's a memorial for one of the forests, Kuzai Forest. We didn't get to see it, that particular forest, when we were in Sholi. And then one of the more poignant pictures is of children waiting for food. It's possible maybe my sister or brothers might be in the picture.
Waiting for food in the ghetto.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Well, whatever you've heard about the Holocaust, it was much worse.
I had one person come visit our Holocaust Garden of Hope because we're trying to tell an ugly story in a beautiful way, with art and focusing on rescuers.
Yes.
And there's just so much we could show in a public space where there's restaurants and events. So I had one person say, this is all, she went like that about the garden. She said, this is all too pretty. It wasn't a pretty thing. It was kind of insulting, but, we have QR codes on our website at our Holocaust Garden of Hope to take you to show you the deeper, uglier things if you need to see that.
Yeah. So anyway, in July 44, the ghetto was liquidated.
They don't know what that means.
So it was all of the prisoners had to leave, and they were sent to other places. And according to the Holocaust, U.S. Holocaust Museum, my parents were sent directly to Stutthof. Although I think my mother told me that they were sent to another camp near Riga, Latvia, called Salaspils, but I'm not sure about that. I don't have a record of that. So my mother was only there for a month and then sent to the sub camp where I was born. where I think I was born.
Wasn't the liquidating, though, of a ghetto also taking people out of the ghettos for the Holocaust by bullets to be shot in the
Possible.
a lot of different? I mean,
Right.
that's
It could be many different
types of liquidating
outcomes. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I'm not sure what the dictionary definition of liquidation is.
I'm just saying that before the gas chambers, before the other camps, there was the Holocaust by bullets.
Right.
And they were doing that, taking them from the ghettos and bringing them to the forest and
Right.
shooting them, like you showed that picture.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I guess also taking with the trucks. It depends on which ghetto and what
that occurred
year.
all throughout the Holocaust. It wasn't just pre the concentration camps. So my mother was in Stuttgart for 1 month, and then where she gave birth to me in the sub camp at Krobau, which I think, I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think I was born there in or near Kromau. And then my father was there for almost a year, and then was sent to Dachau.
He was where?
He was at the same camp. They had different barracks for the men and the women.
Okay, so somehow they got together to create you.
Well, no, that was before. I think that was before the liquidation.
So how did they? So they were together where? 9 months before.
Right.
Where were they?
They would have been in the ghetto.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have been in the ghetto in Scholi. And then my father was sent to Dachau. And then after Dachau was liberated on May 1 of 45, the Jewish prisoners were spent a couple of months there. People think once a camp is liberated, you're just free to go, but that didn't really happen. So they stayed because there was no place for them to go. Their homes were taken. Some probably left, but the Americans set up a displaced persons camp in Feldafing, which is just south of Munich. And the Jewish prisoners, after about 2 months in Dachau, were sent there to Feldafing. Then my mother somehow found out that my father was there in Feldafing while she was in Poland, and she made her way with me and our cousin, my first cousin, to Feldafing.
And they found one another.
And they found one another.
And he found you.
Right. And
What was that?
I'm not sure that my father even knew that my mother was pregnant.
Right.
Yeah.
So that must have been amazing.
Right.
How redemptive.
Yes. So.
Did he know that his other children were killed already?
Oh yes. Yeah. It's a terrible thing to take with you, for your heart, whole life. I'm sure you think about it every waking moment. Just imagine your own children being murdered.
I can't.
Yeah. So anyway, we were in Feldafing. We stayed there until the end of 1951. So my father first saw me, I think it was October of 45. And we were there until the end of 51.
That's 6 years in a DP camp.
Right. Now,
so explain did the family ever, explain a little bit the world of a DP camp.
Well, when you're a child, you take things in stride. I just remember the good things. Remember going to kindergarten. Remember going out with my mother picking berries. You just remember things as a 4-year-old, 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-old.
Did they ever tell you things about the DP camp besides what you remember?
Not a whole lot. I think I once did myself in by climbing. Somehow I got onto a roof and almost fell off. So my mother told me. But I don't remember that.
Well, there's a whole world in the DP camps.
Right, right. It's the city.
And a lot of people, Three Brothers Bakery that a lot of us know here in Houston, Texas, they all remembered the recipes from their, family recipes of baking, and started the business in the DP camp, right? And they brought it here to Houston.
Right.
But a lot of people may not know that when the survivors were free, liberation happened, it was traumatic. It was great news, but It was also traumatic because it was like now they found out what was happening in the world, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, oh, where's all my family?
Right.
Or where's my, if they tried to go back to their homes,
Right.
a lot of Jews were killed for returning to their villages.
Yes.
Because people were like, oh, you're still alive? Well, we like having your job. We like having all of your stuff and your home. They were threatened, a lot of them, and a lot of them, there was a terrible pogrom that happened in Poland, with over, I think it was 40 Jews were killed when they came back to their town
To reclaim their residence. Yeah. Yep.
So people don't realize that. So if if you ever wonder why this problem of trust with the Jewish community, sometimes with non-Jews, even though it was a lot of the non-Jews that were the rescuers, of course, that helped, but there were also those who were collaborators and
Right.
perpetrators.
Yeah. So when we were in Chole, we had a private guide that showed us around the ghetto. And she was from the Frank Frendelis, maybe, museum. It's like a villa there, which we toured. And on the back of the villa, there was a leather factory at the time, a leather and shoe factory. And my father worked in the leather business, so we presumed, or we reasoned that he was one of the prisoners who worked at the leather factory, and that might have saved his life. He was useful to the Germans. They made leather for whatever purpose the Nazis needed, and shoes. You can imagine shoes were very important, and boots were very important. And my father was in the leather business until he retired when we lived in Dallas.
Oh, wow.
So we're pretty sure he worked there at that factory. There were about 250 prisoners who worked there. They made the trek every day. They would go back and sleep in the ghetto, and then in the morning go work in the leather factory.
And so what's interesting is that regular people living in their homes would watch all of these Jews or these prisoners in their striped uniforms passing by to go to work slave labor somewhere,
right,
and back. So when people say we didn't know what was happening, it's a little mashugana.
Right.
Crazy.
They, hold on just a second. Wanted to show you one more thing before we run out of time here, if I can find it.
Yeah, of course.
So this is, we went around the, we couldn't see the entire ghetto boundaries, but we did. So I was able to touch the stone. This is on one of the corners of the ghetto. It's a memorial. And it's, I think it's in Lithuanian, I'm not sure. But there's a memorial stone, which our guide took us to. And then also she took us on the map I showed earlier. She took us there to the residence where my family lived at the time in the pre-ghetto days.
Oh,
yeah.
Pre-ghetto.
Pre-ghetto days, yeah.
That's always nice.
So it was actually a pretty classy street, but I couldn't imagine my family living on a ritzy street. Well, it is now. A lot of it was rebuilt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there weren't much in the way of homes there, but it was a very nice looking area. You would never know it.
So you gave me some pictures. Did you want me to show any of the pictures?
Yeah, let me say one more thing.
Oh, sorry.
Get my thoughts together here. So let me finish up just quickly.
Oh, yeah, of course.
On our coming to the United States, since we're on that topic, you wouldn't be able to see this. It's sort of fuzzy, but we left in December 17th of 51. We left Bremerhaven, Germany. That's a northern German town on the Baltic. And we arrived in New York Harbor on December 29th of 51, stayed over in New York over New Year's. And then my parents, they left me at a hotel, presumably with with another group, while they walked 18 blocks each way to Times Square for the celebration for New Year's.
New Year's?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
this,
you can't
this
really
is,
see
what
it's sort
is
of
this?
fuzzy.
Is this like your papers when you arrived in New York? A
It's a
Statue of
record.
Liberty?
No, this is where this shows where we were scheduled to go. We're scheduled to be settled in Boston, actually.
Oh.
But instead of sending us to Boston, they sent us to Dallas. So
Oh, okay. So you talked about New York, but it was New York was on the way.
we stopped.
In New York.
Okay. So we sailed from Bremerhaven to New York City,
Okay.
and there were only 2 voyages of the particular ship that we were on that made that voyage, and we were on one of those voyages, the General Eltingham.
So you didn't get to go to Boston. You went to Dallas.
Yeah, this is sort of a manifest of people who were on the ship. And
It's just always nice to see the real papers. You know, I heard stories about my some family members, and it was my Nazi descendant friend, Claudia Kiesiger from the March of Life movement. She said, Rosie, I'll get you the train records. I'll show you. And she showed me the train records of when most of my family was taken to Auschwitz, on which day that train left from Schopron. It was so weird to see the manifest, something about the paper, to see it. It's like, okay, it's a real thing.
Yeah. And just one quick thing about Sholi. Our guide showed us a mural, sort of a mural on the building. And there was a carving of a U.S. penny. I'm thinking, why would there be a carving of a U.S. penny in Sholi? Well, it turns out there was a Lithuanian who designed the U.S. penny. That was a dedication to it.
Oh my gosh, that's
And we saw that dedication. So now the U.S. penny is no more.
We don't have a penny anymore?
Well, they're not making anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
I better save your pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe in 100 years they'll be worth something. Yeah.
All right. So, okay. What else did you want to say? Because I know people are going to want to ask you questions.
Right. So on our trip that we took last year, so I think one of the themes that you wanted to talk about is how, we came out from the Holocaust and became really productive people, how we weren't just totally bitter, although some people are. But I think it's the Jewish mentality. It's just a Jewish thing to be positive. And I've had a pretty decent life. We have a couple of children and families in Austin and Houston.
I see you have David Narunsky here. David, you want us to bring you on, or yes or no? You could put it in the chat.
Did you comb your hair this morning?
Did you comb your hair? Who's in the chat here? Here's somebody's saying something Ruth did. I'll let Mitch share what she's thinking. And then David says, what hair? So David, do you want us to bring you on? And embarrass you in front of everyone? It's nice to have the next generation as a panelist. Sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're moving you up. Okay, David, I just moved you up. Where is he? Okay, you're sideways.
Am I upside down?
There you go.
You're sideways.
Yeah, there we go.
A redhead.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, a redhead. I wonder where I got it from.
I used to be a redhead. I think my father too. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm a no color head.
Texas Longhorn. All right.
Welcome.
Welcome. So, is it okay if I add?
Sure.
So, thank you for being courageous and coming on here. So, when were you told about this Holocaust history?
So my father learned a lot of this kind of fairly recently, some level of detail during some recent trips and during lots of research and through Yad Vashem and various different organizations. Some of what he said today I actually haven't heard before. So it was very interesting and also very moving to hear and just kind of experience that. My father did his best, absolutely, to try to share the stories that he had when my brother and I were growing up, and kind of embolden us and teach what he had learned. So, this is not forgotten. Um, Outside of that, I don't want to take up too much time, but I will tell the one story that, funny enough, does always stick with me. When my father came over on the boat, he did talk about how, unfortunately, they gave all the kids a balloon and some blocks, and his balloon popped, and he left his blocks on the boat. So
I cried.
But with that, we're a little short on time, so I'd love to have other folks have an opportunity to interact. So I'm happy to go back into the background.
Now you could stay there. Some people might want to ask you a question, so stay, okay, David?
Sure.
I will tell you, the fact that you are listening is important. I know about a descendant of Holocaust survivors who came to the Holocaust Museum Houston when her dad was speaking. Oh God, what was his name? He wrote the book. He was the Hungarian doctor. Light from the Yellow Star. Anyway, she would travel with him whenever she could, whenever he was speaking, because the memories would come back, and she would hear new things every time her dad spoke. And she said, I don't want to miss this for the world. I want to hear it. And when I was talking to Steve Finkelman recently, Steve is on today, I don't know. I won't embarrass him. But he was telling me that usually with the next generation, there's like a candle in that next generation. There's somebody in one of the kids who will take that light and continue the narrative. So the fact that you're on today, watch out, you might be it. So thank you for joining us. Mitch, do you want to share the different chats that people are saying, babe?
So Ruth, who we interviewed once on a virtual coffee encounter, also an author of a book, as she was tracking her family. She's saying here, Morris, thank you for sharing your family's story. My relatives were deported directly to Riga, Latvia, and shot there. The final solution. The Nazis used any and every means to kill the Jews, as you knew well.
Yeah, we were actually in Riga on our trip. We were in Lithuania, Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia, and we spent 4 days in Riga. But we toured the Riga Ghetto Museum, which was very informative. And I wanted to go to Salaspils, but our boat driver, believe it or not, was not able to find the memorial there. And we did not have time to go to the forest. I don't remember the name of the forest there in Riga. You probably know what it is. And many Jews were killed there.
It's not the final solution. The final solution is the gassing. So I don't know why we have final solution here. That was Holocaust by bullets.
Yeah.
Now Ruth is the author of a new book. God help me. I just finished reading the book. Ruth, give me the name of the book. Her family found letters of this family that was killed in Riga. Mm-hmm. Trying to get family from America to bring them out so they wouldn't be killed. Mm. And they could not get the letters. It's very upsetting book because, story, it's going back and forth, the letters to her family. How hard it was to get out of there.
Right. Yeah, you just sort of have to be, I think I've used the word fortunate rather than lucky.
I don't like lucky either.
Yeah.
Oh, the name of Ruth's book is When the World Was Broken. Okay. And this is our book, Why I Remember the Holocaust. You could get those on Amazon.
We did go, when we were in Vilnius, Lithuania, we did go to the Panerai forest right outside of Vilna, where 100,000 people were shot dead or killed there in the forest, 70,000 who were Jews. These are the numbers from the U.S. Holocaust Museum. But can you imagine 100,000 people being shot in the forest?
What is the name of the artist? He was from Vilna.
Samuel Bach.
Samuel Bach.
Yeah, we went to the Samuel Bach Museum in Vilna.
So Samuel Bach was an artist, young amazing artist as a child, and in the ghetto, people say, oh, the Jews didn't resist. In the ghettos, you weren't allowed to have school, you weren't allowed to do theater, you weren't allowed to pray, but they did it anyway. So for those who say they didn't do anything to resist, that's how they resisted. Spiritual resistance.
Yeah,
art contests.
When you're hungry, when you're starving, when you don't have food, it's very difficult to resist. That's probably the reason the Nazis did that.
And I think the Germans had kind of bigger weapons.
Yes. Yeah, it was amazing for the Warsaw Ghetto uprising for to have that occur for 33 days.
33 days,
and something like that.
Mitch and I are going to France for the week, leaving on Saturday. By the way, and it's like whole countries were taken over by the German machine, the Nazi machine, in a day. But the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, if you don't know the story about it, please watch a video. There are good movies about it. How a bunch of Holocaust ghetto Jews in the ghetto, living in the sewers, gathering dynamite day by day from working in the factories, held back the Nazis, their desire to take over and liquidate the ghetto for over 30 days. These were just without big weapons.
Right. And I wish I didn't find out everything I wanted to find out about my family. I'm still dedicating myself to maybe getting some more information.
Yeah, because as the older survivors are passing away, who were in camps, who were, who escaped or were hiding, you were born in a concentration camp. So you are really like, you had to do your research. I'm just so thankful that you're committed to keep the narrative going, and that you're committed to making sure it's correct. Like, give me that folder there for the museum, the United States Holocaust Museum.
This
the folder.
Oh, the whole folder.
I know that. Yeah, that one. Just the folder.
Okay.
So, Morris came with his books, with his documents, with his facts. We have to be careful, as David, this is for you too, when we tell the story that it's correct, because people want to say the Holocaust didn't. Oh, there's proof. He gave that number, and it's not correct. It's all a lie. Therefore, it's all a lie. So we have to really be careful with that. Is there anybody else that has a question? We have 5 more minutes. Mitch?
Morris, when your parents to be in 4 camps is hard to even fathom. And they're liberated. Do you think you inherited any of the trauma? They say this trauma is passed on to generations.
There is generational trauma.
You see your strength, but is there any trauma you deal with?
I would say, if I had to answer that in one word, I would say no, or at least if it is, it's subconscious. But there is generational trauma among survivors and descendants. I'll have to check with my son about that.
Ask the kids; they'll tell you how stressed out you really are. Apparently the science has been that the Dr. Vardy is on here. Any of other doctors say something about this? Feel free. But there's been research that some kind of stress hormone got mutated in these survivors, and it passed on to the children. I know I deal with anxiety attacks now and then. I mean, just finding out about these 2 incidences that happened at the garden.
I didn't know about that.
It just happened. It upset me. So 4 minutes.
Yeah, actually, emotionally, I feel more like a second generation because I wasn't in an active camp. But technically, I'm a survivor.
I know.
So that would make my son second generation.
That's right. We had
emotionally, it's more like third generation.
I had to convince Morris to start speaking. Right, Morris? I did push you a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't actually consider myself a survivor until some years ago. My wife and I talked about it, and she convinced me, yeah, you are. And I think by definition, anyone who was born in that theater in Europe before the liberation of Dachau is considered a survivor. Dachau was liberated on May 1, 45.
Well,
I was reading, I was going to say, I was reading before this time here that the Soviets first were there in Lithuania, and then the Germans came and pushed them out.
That's right.
But when before the Germans even arrived, the Lithuanian nationalists, neighbors of Jews, were already persecuting the Jews already.
That's in the book. I didn't talk
There were
about.
perpetrators already there before the Germans got there.
Yes.
I do want to quickly show, I'm supposed to do an advertisement to show you our website in case you don't know about it. So I'll just share this for a minute.
Do you have time to show that picture?
What do you want me to
The picture from the journal.
Okay, he wants me to show something else.
Yeah, let me talk about that
I will
quickly.
do it. And that was this one. No.
My father and mother.
Oh, you want me to show this? All right,
Yeah,
hold on.
go ahead and show that one quickly. Yeah.
All right. Can you guys, this is his parents. Sorry, we forgot to show these.
Yeah. You can tell where I got my good looks from my father.
And this is you. This is you, Morris.
Yeah, that's me.
In the
curly,
DP camp?
curly head. Yeah, this would be in the DP camp, right?
Look at how cute.
Yep. Yeah, I used to be cute.
Yeah.
Well, but baby, also, I'm sure in the DP camp. My mother and I.
And that's all in the DP camp.
Right. And these would be my grandparents. These are my mother's brothers. So I would say these are my mother's parents, Joseph, and I forgot my grandmother's name, and she is my sister.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. On the picture we have.
On the right.
Yeah, on the right. Yeah.
And that one was who?
Rivka. So here, I don't know if you can zoom in on the Narunsky name, with one spell with an I. Yeah, here's Hirsch. I presume he was my brother from Shavel, murdered in, but I think it says just Lithuania. Yeah, it doesn't show which town.
This is your brother?
I believe so. Could have been someone. Here's David Narunsky from Shavel, probably my brother. Place of death unknown.
Did you name your son David after?
Yes. Well, one of the names. She's named after, also after my wife's uncle.
Okay.
Two Davids.
All right. Give me 1 minute to show you this, folks.
And Hirsch also.
That.
Yes, his first and middle name.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is our website, hra18.org. It's a lovely site. We're gonna do our march that we normally do, and that will be in January. Please come to that. And plus, we're gonna start one downtown for those who don't want to come all the way to Kingwood. Same date. Next person coming to speak for a virtual coffee encounter is Steve Finkelman. And from survival to service, from memory to action. And so don't miss Steve. That'll be September 16th. And we have tours every Sunday at the garden from 5 to 7 in the evening. And this is our virtual website about the garden. You can use this for teaching as well. This is right here, this picture here in Exhibit 3, that's Samuel Bach's artwork. And we have his artwork throughout the exhibit. And if you've probably seen the famous picture with the boy with his hands up, that was in the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. And he did a whole series of the boy with his hands up for every aspect of the Holocaust, but with his personal face. I don't know if you knew that, but that's one of his things. He also has a whole series on hope, which we have his artwork in there as well. And you can also, on this website, go to take a virtual tour of the Holocaust Garden of Hope if you don't live in town. But if you are in town, please come and see it yourself. And this is on Lake Houston. Beautiful restaurants to go to. And there are 8 exhibits. And Dr. Susanna Kokanon is the person who wrote it. She worked at Yad Vashem for 15 years. This is the place where we keep our upstander stones that a lot of the schools are doing, and hopefully you'd like to do one. We have 8 exhibits planned. That's exhibit 2, life. We're doing it in chronological order, of course, and it's right on the water. And you could see white pelicans, and now and then an alligator. But only one person has seen an alligator, and he's on here. That's Tim. But anyway, by this sign here, we have a whole big pathway, and then we'll have a big deck that'll be a covered pavilion for Exhibit 8. So those of you at end of year need to give money away, please help us finish the garden. And that's pretty much the end of that.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
So the journal, the picture from the journal that I showed you with all the names, there are 4 million names in that journal, and that's we saw that display at Auschwitz, in one of the buildings at Auschwitz. And the journal is several feet high. I'm thinking maybe up to 5 feet high.
Oh my God.
And maybe 15 feet long. And there are 2 sides. You go along one side and then the other side.
Okay,
that's 4 million names.
How many?
4 million.
And that's it. That was it.
That's in Auschwitz. And there's also the same journal or similar journal in at Yad Vashem.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
But the one that I took the picture of was in Auschwitz.
Well, before we close, we're going to thank you all for being a part with us, especially you, David, of course. And we lift our cups. Where's our cup, babe? You got your cup? And we say, look, oh, you got your thermos. L'chaim, everybody. So glad that you made it alive, and you have wonderful children as well.
Did you hear that?
Don't worry, I won't let it go to my head.
It's hereditary.
Bye, guys. Shalom.
Shalom.